I'd like to begin by establishing a common frame of reference for project management, and that takes on this next slide, which is the work efforts in the project management environment. Many organizations distinguish between these two, whereas some other organizations do not do such a good job. I think it's very important for the project, program, and portfolio to be distinguished within an organization. Let's take a look at them. First, there is the project, which is your basic work effort within the project management environment. It's temporary, meaning it has a beginning and an end. And its purpose is to produce a deliverable, a product or service to a customer, which could be internal or external. And then once that's accomplished, the project is completed, and the personnel go on to new endeavors. In contrast, we have the program, which is a group of interrelated projects usually, and that is coordinated by a program manager who now has some business interests to apply to that effort. In other words, there are a series of projects that we want to manage to ensure they accomplish their objectives, but now there's also a program where we want to accomplish some business objectives, and the program manager does that by overseeing the several programs. I would add at this point that this is also the level at which the PMO exists for the most part and in most organizations. As well, we have portfolio management, and this is a collection of projects. I like to think of it as the executive involvement in project management, if you will. To the extent that projects are conducted to achieve business goals, executives are responsible for those projects and therefore should be involved. Portfolio management is the means and the way for them to have that involvement. That's what happens in the project management environment. But what actually is the project management environment? And here's one perspective depiction of a project management environment. For some of you, you may find this to be much broader than you originally thought it to be. And to that extent, we should take a look at what the content of this depiction has for us. First of all, you see the vertical oval, the darker oval, and that represents the project environment. This is where project work is taking place. This is where project team members are working and where technical work is being performed. Horizontally, we have the business environment. This is where the business interest of the project undertaken is being managed, reviewed, and just generally looked at on a day-to-day basis. What you see here is most prominent, is the PMO at the center of this intersection of the two ovals. The PMO sits at the intersection of the project environment and the business environment, and therefore is indicative that the PMO can, if duly authorized and establishing relatively good capability, they can perform both as a project management unit and as a business unit. To that end, they would have involvement with just about all of the participants on this project management environment model. And you might just take a quick look at the fact that on the left side there is an internal set of stakeholders that the PMO would deal with, and on the right side, in general, an external set of stakeholders. I would like to point out that the customer can be internal or external. For the purposes of this slide, they're being represented as external. So there can be a wide variety of roles, particularly when you're considering this from a business perspective. Those roles will appear in a project management environment. If you have interest in business aspects of project performance, then you will want to be considering all of these different roles that are depicted here. With that, let's take a look at several reasons for establishing a PMO. Now, I will tell you that these came from several years of presentations that I have made and received feedback from people, and then I kind of compiled them into some manageable form, out of maybe a few hundred different answers to why do you establish a PMO. These seem to be the common threads of why people do establish PMOs. So if you see this here, you're probably, or you see the need in your organization is what I mean, you probably want to consider establishing PMO, or perhaps beefing it up, if you will, to achieve some of these other means. Taking a look at them, first of all, there's the issue of centralization. And basically what this means is that the PMO can serve as a common source for standards and practices. it provides that kind of guidance in the project management environment. It can provide the guidance for business, technical, and project management activities. Now, many of the PMOs do start with technical aspects of work being managed, but then when they see the types of business benefits that can come out of that, they expand their scope into business and of course, project management areas. The second thing is to reduce project disarray. And what this means is that the PMO can be used to establish a standard approach to project management. That's always been believed by most practitioners, I think, that when you have a common approach to project management, a standard approach, then you are going to do better in the long run with project success. That way, different projects are not doing different things in different ways. There's a common approach, and the PMO then can hold responsibility for establishing that in order to reduce the disarray and to have greater success. Improving business integration with project management is what's implied here. And this means that there is a common process for business management and project management where they intersect, that you don't have different ways of doing things in the organization, that the business solution is also the project management solution, and sometimes vice versa, that sometimes you establish a project management practice that affects a business solution within the organization. And therefore, that practice is common across the organization, whether you're working in the project management environment or not. And we'll take a look at a few examples later on. Collaboration. I think it's very important that there be collaboration across technical disciplines and across business units. Technical disciplines have a primary purpose of achieving a technical solution, a technical deliverable. Project management, in turn, has a primary purpose of ensuring success on projects. And so, therefore, we need to make sure that those things are combined properly, that technical work does include project management work, and that project management adequately addresses the requirements of the technical work. As well, we include business disciplines in there, just in case there are some aspects of business that are also using processes that need to be collaborated, which kind of reflects back on the previous bullet. And then we have access to project management expertise. We view the PMO as being the clearinghouse, if you will, for project management expertise, and to that extent, they can also be providing that expertise and support to project managers and project teams as they go along in the course of their project. This means that the PMO then can become a resource for project management expertise and support. And then finally, achieving business objectives. What we have here is the need for the PMO to have responsibility for aligning the project activities with the business purpose. In other words, projects are done because they produce some kind of benefit to the organization. For the most part, in many organizations, that means revenue. But whatever strategic purpose the organization has, the project management or the projects that are performed should be supporting that. So our next slide then, we can take a look at the roles of project management, of the project management office. And they are three fundamental roles: oversight, control, and support. And a PMO can be established to conduct one or all of these responsibilities. If you will, the oversight is needed so that someone, some central organization, some central person has knowledge, they know what's going on in the project management environment. And they can also then subsequently report it upward to management, to control committees and